Welcome back to Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and coverage of the 2009 Quakey Sense IJSBA World Finals. Chris McCluggage off to the right in the white sunglasses, getting ready for his first moto in Pro-Am Runabout stock. He's a 13-time overall world champion. But before we get to the race action, let's first visit with Don Dawson, who's down in Performance Alley.
One of the coolest things about the World Finals every single year is not just hanging out in Vendor Alley, but you also get to see all the really cool behind-the-scenes stuff. To include all the cool, really behind-the-scenes stuff, fast boats, like these Kawasaki boats. Now, if you want a Kawasaki boat just like this, all you got to do is head down to Vendor Alley. You're going to love this place. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're not here. 2009 Quakey Sense World Finals. Where are you?
Highlights now from Pro-Am Runabout stock. First, the two motos to determine a world championship out here from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And a full line of boats would take the start as your defending champion from a year ago, James Bushell, would try to make it 2 wins in a row. And right off the bat, Timothy Neff from Noblesville, Indiana, would check out and get the lead. Troy Snyder, Shane Stewart, Corey Rarick, and Chris McCluggage would all battle second, third, fourth, and fifth, as you can see all the traffic heading through that big 180 turn to the front straightaway. Timothy Neff would continue to pace the field with no one giving challenge from behind as he would try to pull away as the laps would ensue. We would focus our cameras back on that fifth place battle as Chris McCluggage to the inside aboard that Yamaha would continue to battle Corey Rarick, and in a sign of frustration, McCluggage would finally get past Corey Rarick and wash him down along the front stretch, sending Rarick back into that fifth spot. A chance to watch it on replay once again with added emphasis. McCluggage through that big 180 turn was able to wash down Corey Rarick, so you can sense the frustration of the 13-time overall world champion Chris McCluggage. Later on in moto number 1, McCluggage now in the 4th position with set of sights on Shane Stewart, who is running in that 3rd spot. And McCluggage unable to get past him first through the 180 section to the front straightaway. He would continue to pursue him through the horseshoe section to the back end part of the race course. And through the top section of the race course, McCluggage would finally get past Shane Stewart and move into that 3rd spot. Later on in moto number 1, not done in terms of moving up through the pack, Chris McCluggage would set his sights on the 2nd place boat of Troy Snyder. As they would enter the right section of the racetrack, he would able to get past Troy Snyder and move into that 2nd spot as he would only trail Timothy Neff now. And Timothy Neff would go wire to wire in the opening moto for Pro-Am Runabout stock after getting a fantastic start. Recording the whole shot, he would hold off the 13-time overall world champion Chris McCluggage.
I was looking back and I knew that McCluggage would be coming, so I was waiting for him, and then when I saw he got into 2nd, and I caught up to lappers, I'm like, oh, this isn't good now. But I just pushed hard at the beginning, you know, trying to open up as big a gap as I could, and then knowing that at the end of the race I get into lappers. So yeah, it's good. It's good. I had to go to the LCQ to get into this race, so I'm pretty happy right now, but still another one to go.
Time now for moto number 2 for Pro-Am Runabout stock. Timothy Neff went wire to wire to win the opening moto, so he's in good shape to try to win his first ever Runabout stock world title as we're off racing. So a full field of boats taking the start line, and that green helmet up front looks like it's Timothy Neff. That's Sea-Doo, boat number 127, working the inside splits. Looks like Neff once again is going to check out, get the whole shot. So Neff able to tune his boat properly as he's able to accelerate off the start line, get lots of speed, and pull away from the rest of the competition. So Neff up front early on as he goes for a clean sweep, which is no easy task in the stock division. He's going to make that big left-handed turn to the front stretch, and Neff checks out in front, and then you can see what a dogfight it is in behind. All the boats making that big 180 left-handed turn to the front stretch, and if you're left behind the leaders, say the top 5, it's going to be tough for those riders to make up any ground on the leaders. Just like a washing machine out there in terms of water conditions. Now everybody straightens out to the right-handed section as Neff continues to lead it, and you can see what it's like if you're a competitor behind your leaders as we get our first look now at Chris McCluggage, who doesn't look like he gets a particularly good start here in this 2nd moto, and that's on the heels of a 5th place start back in moto number 1. So Chris McCluggage, a 13-time overall world champion, really struggling here in his 2 motos of competition. from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Meanwhile, that green helmet of Timothy Neff up front, he's from Noblesville, Indiana. Looks like back in second place early on. Troy Snyder aboard that Sea-Doo. He's from Bradenton, Florida. No sign yet of our defending world champion from a year ago, James Bushell. As we see our 13-time overall world champion aboard that Yamaha, that's Chris McCluggage along the back straightaway. And you have to feel for McCluggage the sense of frustration that he must have. He had to be the odds-on favorite to win a world championship out here, and he's trying to get past Chris Wilkinson, who's being stubborn there along the back stretch, and now they come and make that big right-handed turn, and McCluggage is going to go on top of Wilkinson's 777 machine, that Sea-Doo. So race action for McCluggage and Wilkinson has come to a crashing halt at the top left-hand section of the race course. Now Big Mac is able to free his runabout away from that of Wilkinson. And Wilkinson, we can see him getting a hand out of the water from Race Patrol. And the irony there for Wilkinson aboard that Sea-Doo, one of his sponsors is Mac Racing, none other than Chris McCluggage's shop here in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. As we get a look on replay at the accident once again, and it looked like Wilkinson went a bit wide. Mac trying to anticipate it, hugged the buoy to the inside, and his Yamaha rode right on top of the Sea-Doo of Wilkinson. Both riders okay, but you can see how Big Mac's Yamaha caught in the handlebars of Wilkinson's Sea-Doo. And for Chris Wilkinson, his race afternoon has come to a close, so a tough break for the rider and his 777 machine, as he'll be whisked away and taken off the race course to the emergency compound and looked over. You can see him looking at his left elbow there as Race Patrol drops him off. There's the 777 machine being pulled off the race course. So Wilkinson, not a factor here in this second moto after colliding with Chris McCluggage. So he's knocked out of the race, and McCluggage knocked all the way back to the 8th position. So one lap to go. Timothy Neff up front, he's from Noblesville, Indiana, is closing in on his first ever world championship, and also trying to go 1-1 in his 2 sets of motos. The 54 machine, that of Carl Lamp Jr. in behind him in second place, but the interval from first to second has grown as the laps have worn on. James Bushell, the 158 machine, back there in that 3rd position, and that's on the heels of a very poor showing back in Moto 1, as we mentioned, 11th place. And the struggles continue for your 13-time overall world champion, Chris McCluggage, now pulling off the race course. So McCluggage plagued by a host of issues in his 2 motos of race action, mainly poor starts. So Neff closing in on his first ever world title. So the man from Noblesville, Indiana, looking to go 1-1 in his 2 motos of race action aboard his Sea-Doo. So making the turn for home, Timothy Neff will have the checkered flag in sight. He's your champion for 2009. So Timothy Neff going 1-1 in his 2 motos of race action in the Runabout Stock Division. Crossing the finish line in second place will be Carl Lamp Jr. He'll have a top 5 overall finish. So Timothy Neff celebrating aboard his Sea-Doo. He might be the most excited man out here at the World Finals after earning his first ever World Championship. And let's take a look now at all the final results.
You know, like a couple of weeks ago coming into this and training, I was like, man, Chris is the one that's I'm going to have to go against. And so I didn't know where he was in that second moto, but I just kept on pushing, and because I knew that he can come through the field. My Sea-Doo ran really great. I mean, I can't say enough about it. And man, it's just awesome, you know. Had a great time out there, and it's good.
Hey, I'm Nicholas Reyes, 4-time world champion on Pro Runabout, and you're watching the IJSBA Tour World Championship.